Part 1, Understanding Thai Student Psychology, What Western Teachers Really Need to Know About Thai Students. Part 1, The Psychology. So picture this, first week teaching in Thailand. I ask my class if they understand the grammar point I just taught. 20 students smile at me, nod enthusiastically, and say, "Yes, teacher. Great, right?" Wrong. The quiz the next day. Absolute disaster. Not a single student got it right. I was so confused. Why did they lie to me? Why won't anyone ask questions? And seriously, why did that one student ghost me after I corrected her pronunciation in class? Look, if you're planning to teach in Thailand or if you're already here pulling your hair out, you need to understand the psychology behind Thai student behavior. I'm Teacher Harry, I've been teaching here for years, and what I'm about to share in this two-part series will literally change everything. This is part 1, where we dive deep into the psychology, the why behind everything. In part 2, we'll cover all the practical strategies, the how. Let's get into it. Introduction. Okay, so full transparency, when I first came to Thailand, I thought I was a pretty good teacher. I had my TEFL certificate, some experience back home, I'd read a few blog posts about Thai culture. I figured, how hard can it be? Turns out, really hard. Because nobody told me about the actual psychology behind Thai student behavior. They gave me surface level stuff like, "Thais are polite," and "respect is important," but they didn't explain why or what it actually means in practice. So in this first video, we're going deep into the psychology. We're talking the fundamental differences between collectivist and individualist cultures, why hierarchy is everything here, the concepts of face and Kreng Jai that'll blow your mind, why your serious class isn't working, why Thai students seem to think so differently, and how maturity is defined completely differently here. This is going to be about 30 minutes, but I promise you, if you stick with me, you'll walk away understanding your students on a completely different level. Then in part 2, we'll turn all this understanding into practical teaching strategies. Alright, let's do this. Chapter 1, The Foundation. It's not about you. Part A, Collectivism versus Individualism. Here's the thing that took me way too long to figure out. Almost every frustration you'll experience as a Western teacher in Thailand comes down to one fundamental difference. You're individualistic. Your students are collectivist. And I don't just mean in some abstract cultural studies way, I mean it affects everything. So let me break this down. In Western culture, and I'm generalizing here, but stick with me, we grow up believing you're your own person, separate from everyone else. Your main job in life is to find yourself and be unique. Speaking your mind is good and honest. Independence is the goal of adulthood. Your personal goals matter most. Like, think about every Disney movie you've ever seen. It's always about the individual breaking free from expectations, following their dreams, being themselves. Right? In Thai culture, it's almost the opposite. You're defined by your relationships: daughter, student, friend, community member. Your main job is to maintain harmony and fulfill your role. Speaking your mind can damage relationships. Interdependence is valued, not independence. The group's needs come before yours. I'll give you an example. I had this student, really bright, always did well. One day I asked her what university major she wanted to pursue. She said engineering. I was like, that's great. You'd be awesome at that. Then she says, but my family wants me to study medicine. So I, being very Western, go into this whole speech about following her passion. It's her life, she needs to choose for herself. She looked so uncomfortable. I thought I was being supportive, but actually, I was basically asking her to go against everything she'd been raised to value. In her mind, considering her family's wishes isn't giving up her autonomy, it's being a good daughter. It's maturity. Meanwhile, I'm over here with my Western individualism, thinking she's being controlled. So here's what you need to understand. When your Thai students don't speak up for themselves, don't assert their opinions, or seem to defer to others, they're not being weak or immature by Thai standards. they're being socially intelligent. And that's going to be a theme in this video. Different doesn't mean wrong. Part B, hierarchy is everything, alright. Next concept, power distance. In the West, especially places like the US, Canada, Australia, we have what's called low power distance. Basically, we don't love hierarchy. We question our bosses, we debate with our professors, we expect authority figures to earn our respect. I remember in university, I once told a professor I thought his interpretation of a novel was wrong, and we had this whole debate. He actually seemed to enjoy it. That's normal where I'm from. Do not try that here. Thailand has high power distance. Hierarchy is baked into the language, the social interactions, even the religion. And it's not just about workplace structure, it's spiritual. There's this concept called barami. It's like moral perfection or spiritual power that someone accumulates through good actions over many lifetimes. According to Buddhist belief, teachers have more barami than students because of their karma. So when a Thai student shows you respect, they're not just being professionally polite. At a deep level, they're acknowledging that you're spiritually further along than they are. When I learned this, it honestly made me feel the weight of responsibility more. Like, they're not just respecting my job title, they're trusting that I have wisdom to share. Practically, what this means, you'll see students do the why that prayer-like gesture to you. They might avoid direct eye contact. They'll use super polite language. They'll call you crew, which is a term of serious respect, not just teacher. And here's the big one. They will not openly disagree with you or question you in class. That's not because they're not thinking critically, it's because to them, doing that would be like, I don't know, like walking into a church and yelling at the priest. It feels fundamentally wrong. Now, you might be thinking, but I don't want him to see me as some untouchable authority. I want to be approachable, fair, and you can be warm and kind. But don't try to erase the hierarchy. They need that structure. It makes them feel safe. Your job is to be a warm, caring authority figure, not their buddy. Think of it like benevolent king, not drinking pal. Does that make sense? Chapter 2, Face and Kreng Jai, The Invisible Rules. Part A, face the thing you'll destroy if you're not careful, okay? Deep breath. This next part is crucial. If you only learn one thing from this entire two-part series, learn this, face. In Thai, it's called Na. It means honor, dignity, reputation, self-respect all wrapped into one. And losing face is one of the worst things that can happen to someone in Thai culture. Now, Westerners kind of have a concept of this like, we don't want to be embarrassed, but it's not even close to the same level of importance. Let me tell you what happened my second month teaching. I had this student, let's call her Ploy, sweet girl, always smiling, but she kept making the same mistake with past tense. Every single time. So one day, she's reading aloud in class and makes the mistake again. And I, trying to be a helpful teacher, stop her and say, no, Ploy, you're still saying it wrong. Listen everyone, the correct way is. And I demonstrate the right pronunciation for the whole class. Ploy never spoke again. For the entire semester, she would not volunteer, would not read aloud, barely even made eye contact. I destroyed her participation completely. At the time, I had no idea what I'd done wrong. I thought I was helping. I was correcting her so she could learn. But what actually happened from her perspective? I humiliated her in front of her peers. I made her feel stupid publicly. I caused her to lose face so badly that speaking English in class became associated with shame and embarrassment. So here's the rule. Never, ever correct a student publicly. I don't care if it's a tiny mistake. I don't care if you think you're being helpful. I don't care if other students made the same mistake. Correct privately. Always. Instead of public correction, you wait until after class and speak to them one-on-one, correct the mistake generally. I noticed some people are having trouble with this. Use written feedback on assignments, indirect correction. Can you think of another way to say that? Pull them aside during group work when others aren't paying attention, and when you do give feedback, you use the sandwich method. Say something positive, gently mention the area to improve, encourage them like, Ploy, your reading is getting so much smoother. Let's work on this one sound together, okay? I know you can get this. After the Ploy disaster, I changed everything about how I give feedback. Now my students actually participate because they know I'm not going to embarrass them. Trust me on this one. Protect their face like your job depends on it, because honestly, your effectiveness as a teacher does. Part B, Kreng Jai, the most Thai thing ever. Alright, now for the concept that'll make you go, oh, that's why. It's called Kreng Jai. Kreng Jai. There's no English word for this. People try to translate it as consideration, or deference, or not wanting to impose, but it's so much deeper. Kreng Jai is like an almost painful awareness of how your actions might burden or trouble someone else, combined with a reluctance to cause anyone even the slightest inconvenience, even at your own expense. Let me give you examples because this is easier to understand through behavior. Example 1, the question they won't ask: student doesn't understand something. But they don't ask a question because they think it'll take up your valuable time, burden you. Maybe if they don't understand, it means you didn't explain well, which would make you look bad, you lose face. It might slow down the class for everyone else, burden other students. They might look stupid, they lose face, so they just don't ask. They smile, nod, and stay confused. Example 2, the yes that means no. You ask, do you understand? They say, yes. But their face says, I have no idea what you just said. They're not lying, they're being Kreng Jai. Saying no would put you in the awkward position of having to re-explain, burden you, suggest you didn't teach it well, you lose face. Create discomfort in the moment, disrupts harmony. Example 3, the silent struggle. You notice a student seems stressed or upset. You ask if they're okay. I'm fine, teacher. They're definitely not fine. But telling you their problems would burden you with worrying about them. So they'd rather suffer quietly than impose. See why this is so hard for us Westerners? In our culture, we're taught that asking for help is good. Speaking up is honest. Saying what you mean is respectful. But here, the most considerate thing you can do is not burden others, even if it means you struggle. So what do you do about Kreng Jai? 1. Stop asking, do you understand? They'll just say yes. Instead, say, show me an example, or explain this to your partner. 2. Watch their body language: hesitation, looking down, nervous, laughing, long pauses. These all usually mean, I'm confused, but too Kreng Jai to say it. 3. Give explicit permission to burden you. I literally say to my classes, asking questions is your job as a student. Answering them is my job as a teacher. You are not bothering me, you're helping me do my job. Sometimes it helps. 4. Create indirect ways to ask questions: question box, anonymous online forms, or turn to your partner and discuss any confusion before opening it to the class. 5. Make it easier to say no. Instead of, can you do this? Say, this is challenging. Let me know if you need more time or help. I'll be honest, even after years here, Kreng Jai still trips me up sometimes. I'll think we're good, everyone's on track, and then I'll discover half the class was lost but too Kreng Jai to say anything. It's a constant practice of reading between the lines and creating spaces where it's safe to admit confusion. But here's the thing: once you understand it, you start to see how deeply considerate Thai culture is. Like, imagine living in a society where everyone is constantly thinking about not burdening each other. It's actually kind of beautiful, even if it's frustrating for teaching sometimes. Chapter 3, Sanuk, Why Your Serious Class Isn't Working. Quick concept, Sanuk. It means fun or enjoyment, but it's a cultural value, not just a feeling. Thais believe life should be Sanuk, light-hearted, pleasant, smooth. Conflict, tension, serious drama. That's not Sanuk, and they'll avoid it. I used to run my classes like a Western university seminar, rigorous, challenging, lots of debate and discussion. I thought I was pushing them to think critically. My students hated it. Participation dropped. The energy was dead. I couldn't figure out why. Then a Thai colleague explained, "You're making class too serious. Not Sanuk." Oh. Thai students don't respond well to high-pressure, confrontational learning environments. They need it to feel positive and harmonious. What this means practically: mix serious content with games, songs, activities, keep your tone warm and encouraging, even when correcting, use humor to lighten tension, smile a lot. Thais will think you're angry if you don't smile. Make group work feel collaborative, not competitive. Break up heavy lessons with energizing activities. This does not mean your class should be a joke or that you can't challenge them. You can absolutely maintain high standards and push them to grow. But the atmosphere should feel pleasant and supportive, not stressful and confrontational. Think of it like, you're all on the same team working toward a goal, not adversaries in an intellectual battle. Once I shifted my approach, same rigorous content, but delivered with warmth and fun activities, everything changed. Participation went up, students were more engaged, and honestly, I enjoyed teaching more too. Sanuk works both ways. Chapter 4, Critical Thinking. They're not dumb, they're different. Okay, let's tackle the complaint I hear from every Western teacher: Thai students don't think critically. They just want to memorize everything. They won't question anything. Sound familiar? Here's what I need you to understand. Thai students are not less intelligent than Western students. Say it with me: not less intelligent. What they are is differently educated and differently conditioned by their culture. Let me explain. Why Thai students don't question. Remember all those concepts we just talked about. Hierarchy, face, Kreng Jai, Sanuk. Now apply them to education. Hierarchy equals teachers have more barami, spiritual merit, and are authority figures. Questioning them feels morally wrong, not just rude. Face equals asking questions might make you look stupid, you lose face, or suggest the teacher didn't explain well, teacher loses face. Kreng Jai equals questions burden the teacher's time and might slow down the class for others. Sanuk equals debate and argument create tension and discomfort. So when you stand in front of your class and say, "Any questions?" Don't be shy, and you get silence. They're not shy. They're not dumb. They're operating within a completely different cultural framework where questioning authority is fundamentally inappropriate. Plus, the education system itself is different. Thai education has traditionally been teacher-centered, teacher talks, students listen. Focused on memorization and rote learning, emphasizing respect for established knowledge, valuing correct answers over critical analysis. This is changing, especially in private schools and universities, but many students, especially older ones, are still more comfortable with this approach. I remember trying to do a Socratic seminar, where students lead the discussion and debate ideas. It was a disaster. Nobody wanted to speak. When they did, they'd look at me for approval after every sentence. I was so frustrated. I thought they were being passive or lazy. But actually, I was asking them to do something that went against years of conditioning. It's like asking you to eat with your feet, technically possible, but feels completely wrong. The holistic versus analytic thing. There's also this fascinating research about different cognitive styles. Okay, Bear with me because this is actually really cool. Western cultures tend toward analytic thinking, focus on individual objects separated from context, break things down into parts, apply abstract logic. A is A, B is B, they're separate. Seek out contradictions and resolve them. Eastern, Thai cultures tend toward holistic thinking, focus on relationships between objects and context, see things as interconnected systems, consider the whole situation. A and B exist in relationship, more comfortable with contradiction. I'll give you a real example from my class. I showed students a picture of a fish tank with fish, water, plants, and rocks. Then I asked, "What do you see?" My Western brain immediately went, "I see 3 fish, some rocks, and plants." My Thai students said, "I see an ecosystem," or, "the fish are swimming in the water near the plants." They weren't seeing separate objects, they were seeing relationships. Neither is wrong. They're just different ways of perceiving the world. Or when I ask, what caused this historical event? Western students, economic factors, political instability, and poor leadership, breaking it into separate causes. Thai students, everything was connected. The economy affected politics, which affected the people, who changed the leaders, which changed the economy. Arguing seeing it as a connected system. Actually, the holistic approach is often more sophisticated. It's just different from what Western academic writing expects. Once I stopped expecting my Thai students to think like Western students and started meeting them where they are, teaching got so much easier. And honestly, I learned to appreciate holistic thinking. Sometimes the interconnected, contextual approach reveals things that pure analytical thinking misses. Different cognitive styles are strengths, not weaknesses. Chapter 5, Maturity and Well-being, Different Definitions. Let's talk about how Thai and Western cultures define maturity and psychological well-being completely differently. This is important because you might have unconscious judgments about your students based on Western standards that simply don't apply here. Maturity. So in the West, what does mature adult look like? Lives on their own, financially independent, makes their own decisions, has opinions separate from their family, maybe has moved away from their hometown, right? Like, if you're 25 and still living with your parents, people might think you're failing to launch or something. In Thailand, completely different. Living with parents while supporting them equals mature and honorable. Making decisions with family input equals wise, not dependent. Strong family ties equals sophisticated social emotional intelligence. Interdependence equals strength, not weakness. I had this student who was maybe 26, had a good job, but still lived at home and gave most of her salary to her parents. She'd ask their opinion on major decisions. My Western brain was like, why doesn't she move out? She could afford it. She needs independence. But then I learned she wasn't financially dependent on them. They were partially dependent on her. She was supporting them. And in Thai culture, this is the definition of maturity: fulfilling your family obligations, especially caring for aging parents. And asking their opinions. That's not dependence, it's respecting the wisdom of elders and maintaining family harmony. That's emotional maturity. So when your adult students talk about their family a lot, or seem to make decisions based on family input, or live at home, don't judge them by Western individualistic standards. They're not immature. They're operating in an interdependent culture where family connection is a core value. Psychological well-being. Western well-being, individual achievement and self-actualization, pursuing personal goals, expressing your feelings openly, living your truth, personal happiness. Thai well-being, harmony with oneself, others, and nature, interdependence, strong, supportive relationships, acceptance of life circumstances, Buddhist influence. Respect, both giving and receiving, emotional regulation for group harmony. Emotional expression is very different. In the West, we're encouraged to express all emotions, get your anger out. Express your feelings. In Thailand, expressing negative emotions, especially anger toward in-group members, family, close friends, is often suppressed to maintain harmony. This isn't repression, in a pathological sense, it's a culturally adaptive strategy for collectivist living. However, stress in collectivist cultures is often expressed through somatic symptoms, headaches, stomachaches, fatigue, rather than emotional symptoms like depression or anxiety. If a Thai student seems stressed, they might not say, "I'm anxious about the exam." They might say, "I have a headache," or "I'm very tired." Take these physical complaints seriously. They may be expressing emotional distress in a culturally appropriate way. Conclusion to Part 1. Okay, that was a lot of psychology. Let's do a quick recap of Part 1, the big concepts. 1. Thai culture is collectivist group before individual. Harmony over conflict. Interdependence over independence. 2. Hierarchy is real and spiritual, you're the crew with Barami. Accept the respect gracefully. 3. Faces everything, never correct publicly. Preserve dignity always. 4. Kreng Jai is the invisible force, yes doesn't always mean yes. Silence doesn't mean understanding. Read between the lines. 5. Keep it Sanuk, pleasant atmosphere is essential for learning. 6. They think differently, not wrong, holistic versus analytic thinking are both valid. 7. Different definitions of maturity and well-being, interdependence is strength here. Now, you might be thinking, okay Harry, I understand the psychology, but what do I actually do in my classroom? That's exactly what we're covering in Part 2. I'm going to give you practical daily teaching strategies, how to handle the first day of class, face-saving correction techniques, how to build participation, the sensitive topic of gender preferences in private tutoring, and more actionable strategies you can use immediately before you jump to Part 2. Hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss it. Drop a comment and tell me which concept surprised you most. Face. Kreng Jai. The holistic thinking thing. Link to Part 2 is in the description and in the end screen. This is Teacher Harry saying see you in Part 2, where we turn all this understanding into action. Kob kun krap for watching.